Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jasmine and I'm super excited that you are here joining me for another day of daily motivation and daily encouragement. Man, I hope you all have been enjoying the videos so far this week, and if you haven't had a chance to check out the videos from Monday and Tuesday, definitely go check those videos out. But today, super excited about today's topic, you guys. And what I want to talk about is something that I think is important, very important for where we are in this time, right? Just in the world, just as individuals, in general. I think this is a very important topic. And so today, I want to talk about hearing the voice of God. That's what I want to talk about today. So, guys, I want to talk about this topic today, just hearing the voice of God, because, man, at an early age, I can remember learning all the Bible stories, right? Learning about Jonah, learning about Joseph, learning about the coat of many colors, learning about, the whale and Jonah and the whale, and all these different stories, right? Abraham, and all of these things, right? Which is amazing. But that's amazing. But what I wanted to talk about is sometimes, although, sorry, you guys, I thought something was coming up behind me. But what I wanted to say is, although you do learn about all of the individuals in the Bible characters and things like that from a young age, right? We never, I personally never really learned about how to hear the voice of God, right? So, on my journey throughout the years, I kind of had to learn that, right? And, still learning to this day. And what I will say about hearing the voice of God, one thing that I learned is that God speaks in different ways. And that's why you have to be aware of, like, I think I mentioned this on the channel before, but be aware of, like, things that are happening around you and things like that, because God could be speaking and you're missing it. Sometimes you think, man, this is just coincidence, or you know whatnot, but really it's not coincidence. Sometimes God is trying to get your attention. He's really trying to speak to you in certain situations, right? So I said all that to say, just wanted to give some practical ways, when it comes to God speaking, right? And I hope that this really helps you, even if you're in a place where maybe you're trying to really decipher the voice of God in your life, in your everyday situations, right? Because we all have so many different things going on in our lives, so many things happening around the world, in our personal lives, and we need direction, right? We need direction from God on, should I go here? Should I do this? Should I take this opportunity? Should I move here? Should I? All these things, right? We need direction for those of us who are really trying to, walk in, the way of the Lord, right? We need direction. So I said all that to say, I'm just going to tell a few ways personally that I really learned, hearing the voice of God. I really learned the voice of God in certain situations in my life, right? So I'll talk about this as well. Reading the Bible is very good as well to, and I know you've probably heard this before, but to decipher God's voice, right? Because you learn his character, right? You learn, um, his character and his manner of tone and all those things. You learn those things reading about God and the Bible, and it's able to help you to decipher his voice when he's speaking to you. So, for instance, one thing that I learned, you guys, and I did not know this for the longest time, I was listening for an audible voice. When when the pastor or anyone said that they heard God say something, I assumed it was an audible voice, like how I'm speaking to you right now. So I always was listening for this audible voice. And when I never heard it, I was like, man, well, God just isn't speaking to me, or he just, doesn't want to speak to me, right? But as I went, you know, got older and things like that, I really started to realize that sometimes God speaks through situations, scenarios. God can speak through anything, really. Situations, He speaks through His word, right? He speaks sometimes, and this is one thing that really I want to touch on today, really. One way that God speaks is your thoughts. For me personally, one way that I really recognize, whoa, God is speaking to me, is my thoughts, right? And I'll tell this story. I was where was I? I was at a, well, kind of like a clothing store, right? I was in this store, and they had like um electronics, like a few electronics, headphones, things like that, cell phone cases and all those things, right? Chargers, that sort of thing. So I was in the electronics section, and I had recently purchased some headphones from this place before, and but those headphones, they were like, I guess there was an error or something malfunctioning with the headphones. So when I used them, tried to connect them to my phone, they would not work, right? So I went back to the store and said, hey, these headphones are not working. I need a new pair, right? So they said, okay, go back to the back in electronics, get you a new pair. We'll switch them out. No problem. Went back to the back, and forgive me guys because this has been a while ago, so not remembering the story verbatim, but went back to the back, and I was, but I do know this is kind of the gist of what happened. I went back to the back, could not find the headphones anywhere, could not find another set, another pair. So I was like, man, I guess that was the last pair of headphones that they had. So I'm gonna have to go tell the lady up front there weren't any more of this particular headphone that I wanted. And so I was headed back up to the front to tell the lady about the headphones. But something told me to go back, go back again and check again, pretty much. And I can't remember exactly what the, was it just a feeling, or did I, hear something in my mind? I believe something came to my mind to go back. I think that's what it was. Something came to my mind to go back, check again. And so I did, and started looking in the back, kind of like behind some other things in the electronic section. I don't know if it was the chargers or whatnot. But I started doing that, and guess what? I found that pair of headphones. And that's one way when I really started realizing, wow, like, Lord, like that you were speaking to me in my thoughts, right? My thoughts. That was one way that he spoke to me when he said, go back, go back. That was him speaking when I heard that or thought that, right? That was him speaking to me, telling me to go back and check. There are the headphones I needed, right? So that's the first way. I just want to tell you that sometimes God is speaking through your thoughts, and you have to be aware that, whoa, you know, maybe it's something God is telling you to um, call someone. Maybe you've been thinking about a certain person, and you've been thinking about them, saying, man, I need to call that person, right? I need to call that person. That could be God telling you, nudging you to check on someone, right? Maybe it's a loved one, a friend. So he speaks sometimes through our thoughts, right? I wanted to share that. Be mindful of your thoughts sometimes, guys, because that could be a way that God is speaking to you. And that's when I first started really learning the voice of God speaking, right? So that's number one, you guys. And this video may be a little bit longer today, you guys, because I really want to go over this, just talking about this today. And I hope that this is really blessing you and kind of helping you as well. So the second way that I just want to share that God spoke to me was in, I think I actually mentioned it in a video, a few video, well, it's been several videos back. I don't know if you all remember the video or were able to see the video that was called It was called Do You Hear the Spiritual Sirens Sounding Off? Do you hear the spiritual siren sounding off? And I was pretty much talking about my vacation, right? I was on vacation and we were on the way somewhere and we saw these fire trucks or a fire truck, right? Then, um, we that was one scenario. Then after we went home and all that, we decided to go back out to the grocery store that same day. And when we got to the grocery store, we saw another fire truck pulling up to the grocery store when we arrived, and another medical vehicle. And so that's when God started to really kind of give me that word for that specific video. Do you hear the spiritual siren sounding off? So if you have not had a chance to go check that video out, definitely go check that out. And I was able to kind of talk about, you know, preparing for Jesus's return, right? For Christ's return, and really snatching um, snatching individuals out of the fire in that message, so to speak, right? So if you haven't had a chance to go check that out, definitely check that video out as well. But that's another way. Scenarios, situations. At first, when I first saw that fire truck, when we were on the way to our destination, I was like, man, this fire truck is coming by fast and all that stuff. It really got our attention, right? But then when we pulled up to the store and I saw another fire truck pulling up at the store, I had to say, wait a minute, this seems like a coincidence, but wait, is God trying to say something in this moment, this situation, right? Two fire trucks, seeing fire trucks back to back like this in this situation. Is God trying to say something? And then that's when he started really to kind of give me inspiration for that message that you all heard, right? So speaks through situations like that. Lastly, I just wanted to share another situation, really, and this is just in general situation. Sometimes, again, if you're, say it's a Sunday morning and you are getting ready for church, I'm sure some of us have probably been in that boat where Sunday mornings seems like everything is going wrong, everything is not happening, the outfit you wanted to wear is just not coming together right. You wake up late, seems like you got to get ready for church, things like that, but things are just going left, everything's just going wrong, right? That is, again, an indicator of God trying to speak in a way, but also the enemy trying to intervene to stop you from getting to the church, right? Getting to church, to receiving what God is getting ready to start, what God is getting ready to do in your life, right? So, again, that's a situation where, the enemy is trying to stop what God is trying to start, right? So God is trying to do something probably, and that's why you're experiencing all of that warfare. Sorry to interrupt you guys, but just wanted to add in that is another way of God speaking through situation and really letting you know that he's getting ready to do something. And in the church space, right? That's why you probably were going through all of that, because he wants to do something specific in your life at when you get to the church house, right? So just wanted to share that. But also I wanted to share this as well. God speaks sometimes as well through our dreams. There are different ways that God speaks, you guys. There are different ways, and I didn't really just go over all of that in this video today, but I just want to share some other ways that God has spoken to me, and really how I really learned that, wow, this is God speaking. He also speaks in our dreams, and I just wanted to share this really quickly. I had a dream once, and I can't exactly remember everything from this dream, but I do remember that this guy, it was like I was watching almost like a trial, and there were different people coming into, I guess it was like a courtroom, and this guy, he was saying, I only did it once, or something like that. And I knew that he was referring to texting and driving in that situation. And that was a way that God was speaking to me, kind of waking me up to the fact that, sometimes when you get calls and things like that, you'll talk to people on the speakerphone and things like that. You'll pick up your phone for a minute just to do those things. And God was really showing me through that dream that, to just a warning in that sense when it comes to picking up phones and all that while driving. So that was another way that God spoke to me through my dreams. So wanted to share that God speaks in so many different ways, you guys. You just have to be open. He does speak audibly. He does speak in different ways, as I've kind of been mentioning in the video, through reading the word of God. Just, there are different ways that God speaks. But let's get back to the video. Just wanted to share that. Just wanted to share some of these indicators of ways I started to really hear the voice of God, personally, right? So if you want to share ways that you hear from God down below, definitely do that as well, because I want to encourage some individuals who may be in a place where they're having a hard time hearing God, right? Just want to encourage those that, sometimes it is a process as well, right? You may get to a place to where you're like, man, I've been trying to hear, and I'm not hearing anything, right? It's a process sometimes, right? And I want to continue this tomorrow. And I want to do something practical tomorrow to kind of help you with hearing the voice of God. I want to do something kind of practical tomorrow to kind of help you with, getting in a place to hear God, right? Because if you're in a place where it's like a lot of noise and a lot of things happening around you, it may be kind of hard for you to hear him. So I want to do something practical tomorrow. So come back tomorrow, and I want to do something to maybe, continue this flow that we're in right here. So I'm going to leave it right here, though. Don't forget to like this video, comment, and subscribe. I will see you all in the next video. I hope that this bless you all today. I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.